At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. Yeah, we got audio. I'm Mike Krueger, and you're watching Coffee with Krueger every weekday morning at 7 a.m., where, of course, we give you a nice detailed look at the forecast here. You can ask questions about what's going on with the weather. This is a very highly interactive show, so I encourage you to ask questions, to make comments, get the conversation going. There is a lot to dive into today. As many of you may have heard, it's been all over social media, it's been all over the media, it's been here on Weather NorCal, and that is the Thompson fire out in just north of Oroville, kind of by the lake, by the dam itself, actually. It's kind of impacted the dam a little bit. This is a big deal. This is the first, I'd say, major fire that has hit Northern California of the season. We've already got confirmation of homes, unfortunately, that have been lost. This is just not a good situation. So let's get you right into the forecast, and then we'll get into the Thompson fire itself. We're going to get a little bit more details about that right now. But the other thing that we need to address is not just the Thompson fire and the fire danger, but it's the heat. The heat is, without a doubt, creating problems, right? And that is going to continue to be a problem here. So let's look at the temperatures out there right now. So here's what's going on. Look at the temperature out there right now, 85 degrees for Redding. I know yesterday, Redding broke the record for the warmest overnight low or morning low. We could be looking at that again today. I'd have to look at the statistics on that, but there is that potential that we could be looking at that. Look at Red Bluff, 86, 81 for Corning. This does not help in that fire danger, right? If it's still warm, that means it's still dry. The winds are still blowing out there as well, and that's going to create problems. But look at the temperature in Shingletown, 73. Now, you're cooling off a bit in some of those higher elevations, like Bernie at about 46, about 47 in Weaverville. And there you can see about 47 for Hayfork, 48 for Eureka. The visibility looks pretty good along the coast right now. It looks like we are, boy, I don't know what's going on there, but it looks like we are, of course, looking at visibility, looking pretty good. Now, I'm going to show you something here, taking a look at the Elk Country cam. This is just north of Trinidad, and we don't really have, it's kind of hard to see there because it's a little hazy out there, and that's just typically because you've got that marine air out there. But we take a look at the sunset camera. This is out in Crescent City, and this is turning out to be a gorgeous, gorgeous morning. But look at the winds. I mean, you look at the ocean, you look at the water there, and the wind is blowing up there this morning. I've been noticing a chat on social media around the Humboldt area, and of course, just along the coast. People have been complaining about the amount of winds that they've seen here so far this season. It has been quite windy in those areas here. I'm going to take you back to the Elk Country cam before we can kind of transition to the other information we need to get to here this morning. So if, of course, you saw the visibility was looking pretty good, we get you out the door this morning, and yeah, it's a warm start to the day. I mean, temperatures in the low to mid 80s already in the valley for many of us, although a little bit cooler than that in some spots here for the valley. But otherwise, in the mountains, pretty warm too, mid 60s, 58 degrees in Modoc County, or in particular around Alturas, and the coast, looking at about 57 degrees. For some reason, and let me know if there's anybody out there watching this morning. Do me a favor, I'm noticing that there are no chats coming in. Nobody has made a comment. Usually I've got people who are very active, but I don't know. Maybe you're just not in the mood to chat. Maybe you're not in the mood to do comments. But that's a good confirmation to me that everything's okay and up and running. There we go. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff is my first. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, we are going to get into, thank you, Pam. We are going to get into This is what we got. This is going to take a good portion of this morning because we need to address the fire. For those of you that aren't interested in the fire, hang tight. But we'll get to. But for those of you who live in Oroville, maybe you're watching from Oroville and you want to know what's going on with the fire. So let's start off with taking a look at the different hotspots out there. What we're looking at right now is the satellite. And what the satellite does is it can detect heat signatures. Now, the one at the very far left there that you see there, that was from last night. And of course, it's still burning in that area. But we're seeing new heat signatures this morning south of Feather River. There you can see also west of the lake itself. You can see a hot spot there as well. These are things we don't want to see. In particular, when, of course, we've got a lot of communities that are going to be involved in this and need to be concerned about it. Now, take a look at this. This is the latest data coming in. The yellow is about 12 to 24 hours old. So that's the old data. That's the old fire signature, right? So it's not burning that area, but what's burning is to the east of that. All that area of red right now, that is the latest data that is coming in. So we can kind of zoom it in here a bit tighter, and you can see what we're seeing here is kind of around the dam. And, you know, we've got that community. I believe it's called, the Kelly Ridge, but there's a whole community there. And of course, there's also community south of the dam itself too. So this is obviously something we don't want to see as well as we get early in the morning. Okay, now take a look at this, and I'm going to show you. We're going to start with the camera. Okay, the full view of this. We're going to let's do the last 6 hours of this. And you can see here, eventually they turned the camera over to where the fire is. I'm not sure why they pointed it away from the fire, but there, it looks worse there than it is, because once we start to get daylight, the camera is out of focus and it kind of makes it look worse. Now, we're still seeing, as you can see, a lot of smoke being produced from this fire. But one of the things you'll notice is we're not seeing the flames as much, which means it's not burning as hot as it was when it first started, and really even through the first portion of last night. I want to show you this. This is a loop going from sunset through the night and into this morning. Now you'll notice as we were going into sunset, we saw a very prominent area of orange. I'm going to take you back in time. This is when it was really kind of burning, right? Look at this. See that little dot? This right here. I'm going to go up to the wall here. You see that right there? I mean, there's a really bright dot in there. What that's saying is burning really hot. So this was shortly after sunset. Okay, then we're going to take you through time here. And you can see overnight, look what happens. You see that area of orange? It really starts to just dissipate. And now you can barely see it. You have to look really closely. In fact, I can't even see it. And partially because I do have a light in my face. But yeah, I mean, there's just a very faint, let me see if I can point it out here. If you look right there, very faint orange. So that's good news, right? That's good news because that's telling us the fire is not burning as hot as it was. Now I want to take a look at some of the current conditions out there. The winds, kind of hard to maybe see on your map there, but around the dam, they're coming from the north at about 12 miles per hour. And Kelly Ridge Road is looking at 7 miles per hour, variable. So the winds aren't terribly strong this morning, but you could see from that image here, we'll take it back to it, you can see that the winds at the surface are certainly blowing that smoke. So there is some wind, and it is blowing that smoke mainly down to the south at this current hour, okay? So that's what we're looking at. And then, of course, I do want to take a look at the humidity, and we're at about 20% at Kelly Ridge, 19% out at the dam. So rather low, lower than we like to see. Typically in the morning, you have the cooler temperatures and higher humidity as a result. So, you know, these humidity levels are not favorable. So it is warm. It's very dry. The winds are blowing, but unfortunately the winds are expected to pick up. All right, let's take a look at watch duty this morning, and you can see there's the Thompson fire. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and get the latest data coming in. Number one, since yesterday you made a watch in the evening, it was over 1,000. Now it's over 3,000, just over 3,000 acres. Latest report coming in. No additional updates have been received. So we're really not getting a whole lot of information here early this morning from the fire officials. Now, here's another thing that I want to point out. If you do this, and I'm going to do this right now, I'm going to take you to weathernorcal.com. Here's what I want you to do. Of course, you can see the live stream there. Go to Fire Danger. This is a really good resource for you folks. This is a great resource for you if you want to just find out the latest. So at the very top, I've got Watch Duty app in there. And that's got all the information you need. Now, what I want you to do here, as far as evacuations are concerned, that's, you know, you look at those zones, you're like, oh, what is that zone? Where am I? All that. Well, this is the beauty of Watch Duty. They have some great information here. You see it says evacuation notes. Click on that link, Butte County Evacuation Zone Map. Because here's the thing. I want to show you something. As we go down here to Zone Haven, what you'll notice, if we zoom it out, it just doesn't want to show the zones for Butte County. You see how the zones are there in Yuba County and to the north, but Butte County, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on there and why that's the case, but you see all the zones are surrounding. Even Glenn County is not part of it, or Colusa. So for some reason, this is kind of useless information, right? Because it's not giving you the information you need. Now, if we go to Butte County, this might take us there. Emergency management. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Here's where you're going to go. This is what I want you to do. See where it says evacuation notes, Butte County Evacuation Zone. I click on that. It will click up a map here. It'll take a little bit of time, but there you can see this is going to show you all of the evacuations in the area. All right. So all the red are evacuation orders. That means you need to leave now if you haven't already. You see the yellow, that's an evacuation warning. What that's saying is be prepared to evacuate because the fire has been a little unpredictable, quite honestly. All right, now we're going to show you the fire perimeter here. This is the latest fire perimeter officially coming in from fire officials. Now, what I like to do with this, I like to zoom in on it. And for those of you that are evacuated, you can get an idea of where the latest fire perimeter is in comparison to where you live. Now, one of the things I want to mention are two things. Number one, just because your home may be inside that fire perimeter doesn't mean that your house has burned. There's a very good chance the firefighters were able to save it. But this perimeter inside is where the fire has, for the most part, burned. Now, it hasn't burned every single square inch. That's why, again, a house may not have burned. And just because you're outside of the fire perimeter doesn't mean you're 100% safe either. Because you can get embers that go outside that fire line, and then you can get spot fires. For example, look to the east of Canyon Drive. You got this little area right here, right? That's a bit of a spot fire that developed. So let's start with the dam and work our way around. So there's Oroville Dam Road. There you can see looks like we have Oro Powerhouse Road. Okay, that's within that fire perimeter. Now we're going to take you up to the north and west. Of course, we're getting to the lake, west of Lake Oroville. And you can kind of see it kind of goes around the arm there. And then, of course, this is just an area that is, you know, high terrain. There's most likely not any structures or homes in that area. I can't tell you that for sure, but you can see the terrain here. You see the very tightly packed lines. I'm going to show you here. What these are lines that show you the elevation. So when they're really tightly packed like that, that's showing that's a really steep hill. All right, so that's kind of what the type of terrain that they're dealing with here with this fire. So again, we're up north, kind of west of the lake. Now, what runs north is Oregon, north and south is Oregon Gulch Road. So you can see it's on the east and west side of Oregon Gulch Road. And then, of course, we've got, is that View Lane? It's kind of hard to see. Yes, we've got View Lane that meets up with Oregon Gulch Road. And I'm going to see if we can show you that better right here. Here's View Lane, Oregon Gulch Road right here. Okay, all within that fire perimeter. So again, if you live in this area, you know what you're looking at here. You know the area. Then, of course, you've got the Feather River to the south. It's running all along that the north bank of the Feather River, and then of course it gets to the bend that then takes it southward, but it is running all along the bank there. There's Cherokee Road along, of course, the Feather River. Big O Road off to the west here. You'll notice it hasn't quite reached Big O Road at this point, but it is between Cherokee Road and Big O Road. Of course, there's the Feather River right there. So you can see as you go on the other side of the river now, we've got that, of course, that fire perimeter. So it did, of course, go over the river, unfortunately. And again, this tells you that even a body of water is not safe because the embers are what can start more fires. The embers from the fire itself. All right, now we're going to go to south of Feather River, and there are some homes and the communities in this area. There's Sycamore Hill. Now, outside of the fire perimeter, Lakeland Boulevard. You've got the cross street of Lakeland Boulevard as well, going from west to east. Almond Street, outside of the fire perimeter. Long Bar Road, outside of the fire perimeter. We've got Long Bar Court, outside of the fire perimeter. Outside of the fire perimeter as well is Valley View Drive. Oroville Dam Boulevard, the north end of it has made its way into, and of course then it kind of, I'll kind of show you right here. Oroville Dam Boulevard right here. There's Rusty Dusty Road. Oroville Dam Boulevard does this and then kind of scoots around and as it kind of follows the river there. So you've also got Oroville Dam Boulevard here, and then Oro Powerhouse Road, right? So that kind of gets outside of the fire perimeter, but then it kind of goes back up on the other side there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move this to the right, or to the east, that is. And what we're looking at here is Bessie Lane. Okay, inside of it is Putnam Drive. And I'll show you where that is. Belden Court and Putnam Drive. So Belden Court, where was it? Oh, right here. And Putnam Drive right here. All right, so now it gets a little spotty at this point, right? Because we're at the very southeastern tip of where that fire perimeter is. We've got Sydney Drive right here. So as you know, we were talking about a community, Kelly Ridge, right? To the east, there's Lake Oroville Golf and Event Center outside the fire perimeter, right? We take you to Longview Drive. So this is good news, right? Because we're not getting it into that community, but it is, as you can see, approaching as it tries to move itself eastward and southeastward. So that's the latest look at the fire perimeter. I wanted to do that because, again, for a lot of people who live in these areas, you want to know, because you're gone. You have to either be watching this or somewhere else, and you can't be at home right now. And number one, I am so sorry that you have to go through this. It just breaks my heart when I've got to report these types of fires, because I don't like doing it. I want to do it and I want to help you, get you the information that you need. But this is not an easy time for those of you that are evacuated right now. So that's what we're doing right now. Of course, looking at the fire perimeter. Again, go to weathernorcal.com and click on fire danger. Now you can find that two different places. You can find it at the top. See where it says fire weather and current fires? You can click on that, or you can click on fire danger. And that'll take you to the same page that we were just looking at. All right, I want you to do that. And of course, there's my latest video update there as well. You can kind of get some information on that, but this is of course a little bit more recent. And there's just more data in there. There's the, for today, it's elevated fire danger. And then of course, this shows you some of the significance of the fire. And then of course, were there any red flag warnings? And of course, the zone haven, which does not include Butte County, unfortunately. Okay, I believe we got that all covered here. I'm going to take you back to the camera here, see if there are any questions. I haven't had an opportunity to really check out some of the questions here, so forgive me while I'm looking away from the camera, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of take a look at what some of you are saying here. Jeff was saying he's the first, good morning, Mike, from 7 miles west of Red Bluff, measured 110 yesterday. Overnight was 84 degrees. Yikes, yowzers, no thank you. That's what we were dealing with from Curtis Brown. Good morning from Smoky Oroville. Well, thank you, Wanda, for watching. Hopefully you're home safe, because, nobody wants to be in that situation where you've got to be evacuated. Good morning, everyone. Have a blessed day. We've got Monterey watching this morning. We've got Tracy Sackett saying, good morning from MacArthur. Prayers for those in affected areas and the firefighters. Stay safe out there. I, couldn't agree more. That's the best way to kind of put it, to help give your support to anyone out there. Rebecca is saying good morning from Paradise. Of course, you're not in an evacuation area. Thank goodness. I'm sure we just have those PTSD moments with the campfire, right? Good morning. I've been watching the QuickCast due to my new schedule. Thanks for all. Oh, the QuickCast. Do want to remind you, I do have a QuickCast. I want to show you something real quickly here. Let's go to the website. Let's go to weathernorcal.com. All right, good. We're going to take you back to the home page. All right, so if you go, and I'm going to show you right here. If you go here, you can go to forecast videos. See at the very top? That'll take you to the forecast videos page. And right below the NorCal forecast is Krueger's QuickCast. If you are in a hurry, you just want to watch a quick forecast for the day, that is the place to go. I update it after I do the long NorCal forecast, but usually around 6:30, 7 o'clock at the latest, it will upload and you will be able to, of course, see that. So be sure to check that out. So yeah, thank you, Lisa, for kind of pointing that out. I appreciate that and know that people are watching. We have got Aunt Andrea, or Andrea, I know it doesn't really, sometimes it's different for people, saying, thank you for your compassion and giving the details. I do everything that I can. I want to give all the details that I can about these fires, folks, because I know how important it is for you to know what's good, especially for those of you that are impacted. If you're not impacted, you can watch this knowing that if you eventually will be impacted, this is the type of coverage you're going to get. Tell your friends, tell your family, Mike Krueger hasn't gone anywhere. You want the best fire coverage, this is going to be the place that you're going to go, as far as not only where the fire is, what it's doing, but of course the weather conditions and how it is going to impact your day when it comes to smoke, when it comes to the fire perimeters, how you may be impacted by that. I haven't gone anywhere. All right, let's take you back to our weather computer. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you to, let's see if it works. Try this again. Is it going to work? Yeah, it is. All right. We've got the fire weather alerts. Of course, there's a red flag warning today. You know the drill. It's going to be hot. It's going to be dry. It's going to be windy. Here's what it looks like right now. The winds are blowing in many areas. By the afternoon, it just, it gets a little better. But by tonight, tomorrow, still a little gusty, but I do expect the winds to most likely die down as we go into tomorrow afternoon. That's good. But the humidity, very dry today, single digits. The fire weather risk for today, it's going to be in the high to extreme category. We just couldn't ask for worse conditions. And we got this big ridge of high pressure in place, and it's giving us the heat. Excessive heat warnings, we've got excessive heat advisories, and this is all going through mostly through Tuesday, and it's extending all the way northward into Washington, folks. This is an unprecedented heat wave that is impacting the entire West Coast. Now, records, I've talked about this the last few days, but this is one thing I want to point out, because the highest number ever on record for Reading since 1893, 6 consecutive days. That's the most number of consecutive days of 110 plus degree temperatures. Take a look at our 10-day trend. It's over 6 days. Now, I think we could get over 110 degrees today. I think we'll stay above 110 degrees through at least Sunday. How many days is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's at least, 5 days? At least. As you start getting into Tuesday, Wednesday, we're getting borderline. But I think we could see 6, 7, maybe even 8 consecutive days of 100 plus 10 degree temperatures. It'd be interesting to break that. I wouldn't want to break it, but we're on the track to that. All-time high in record. Now, this is the official high, not from your grandma's backyard, folks. I'm still seeing on social media, I remember in whatever year it was, back in 19 whatever. 120, 122. Okay, maybe your thermometer was maybe a little different. Maybe it was sitting in direct sunlight. I don't know. You don't want it sitting in direct sunlight. All right, you need to make sure that it's properly placed, that it's getting the ventilation it needs, that it's not getting a source of, say, your house that can emit a lot. On an evening, and here's what I want you to do, just for a fun experiment. I want you to go to the side of your house after the hot day, when things feel cooler outside. Put your hand by your house, you'll still feel it radiating a lot of heat. So if you have a temperature gauge on your house, it's going to feel that radiated heat and give you an exaggerated temperature. I could go on and on about that, but that is the all-time high set 3 times since records have been set. We could possibly see that for your daytime high on Saturday. Now, yesterday, we didn't quite reach 110. I was expecting 110, so we didn't quite reach that. 108 for Redding, 109 for Red Bluff, 104 in Chico. And look at the mountains. It's getting hot there, too. Crescent City, 61, even warmer in Eureka at about 74 degrees yesterday. All right, so here's what it looks like today. About 110 degrees, give or take, for the valley. 90s for most of the higher elevations. And then, of course, Willow Creek, 110, 108 for Hoopa. Look at Weaverville, 106, Hayfork, 106. The coast, low 70s for your daytime highs. We take a look at that 7-day outlook. Yeah. 118. So again, keep in mind, the all-time high in Redding is 118. I've decided to go ahead and set it in stone that I'm forecasting 118 on Saturday. Could we meet or break that record? We'll see. I don't know. Could we get up to 119? That's not out of the question. I'll be honest. Saturday's the peak of the heat wave. Temperatures will start to slowly drop after that, though. The coast, you're getting warm, too. We could even break a record in Eureka, believe it or not. That could be on Friday. We'll see. And, of course, inland is getting hot. Weaverville is going to be hot. And we take a look at Mount Shasta, Altura, Susanville, looking at record-breaking temperatures as we especially get to the end of the week and this upcoming weekend. 4th of July, it is going to be downright hot out there. Taking a look at some of the cameras out there this morning. This is what it looks like on Main Street in Chico. Highway 32. We might have some smoky skies out in that area. We can't see it here from Highway 99 at Neal Road. It just might be because it might be looking in the wrong direction. Take a look at Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44 in Redding. Looks like traffic is flowing smoothly there. This is a beautiful. Let's just break away from the heat for a second. Let's break away from the fire and just take this in. This is what I want you to do. All right. Take a deep breath. For those of you that are stressed out, that you're not feeling good, take a deep breath. Do it with me. Breathe through your nose. Inhale through your nose, and then exhale through your mouth. Just let it out, okay? Here's what I'm going to do. Just go over to me. Let's do it together. Put your hands up like this and go like this. There you go. All right. My wife is probably laughing right now. She's the one that has to remind me to breathe. There it is. Look at that. Thank you, Yolanda, for giving us this brief moment of solace and just peace. Beautiful shot on the Sundial Bridge. By the way, if you want to send in your photos, send them through the free Weather NorCal app. I'll share them right here on Coffee with Krueger. I'll share them on my morning update as well. And all I want you to do is this. It's very easy. From your iPhone, your Android, you've already got pictures on your phone. You're taking pictures of yourself or your family staying cool. Take a picture of it. Share it during this heat wave, right? What are you doing to stay cool? Eating ice cream? That sounds good, right? How about your pets? How are they staying cool? Take pictures of your pets. We love pets, right? Or just a beautiful shot in general. So do that from the free Weather NorCal app. It's very easy. It'll give you directions. Just scroll to the bottom and it will show you. Of course, we don't have a Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals, but what we got to do, let me take it back over to me. As you know, over the last week and a half, we've been celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Weather NorCal. And in that celebration, the reason why the Weather NorCal has been a success over the last years, number one is for you, watching, telling your friends, and spreading the word, helping Weather NorCal grow because it has grown. We're seeing that. But on top of that, we've got sponsors. Because without the sponsors, I would have to charge you, right? The sponsors are paying for advertising. As a result, that's bringing in revenue to Weather NorCal. And as a result, we can keep Weather NorCal afloat. So I want to do everything I can to help show the sponsors that I appreciate them. So one of my latest sponsors is Bar and Mudford. So let's learn more about them and how we appreciate them being sponsors. Hello everyone, Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. As we celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Weather NorCal, we also celebrate our sponsors because our sponsors are what make Weather NorCal happen. Because without the sponsors, I would have to charge you at home watching but thanks to our sponsors, it's free to use, a free service. So one of our sponsors is Bar and Mudford. Now, Bar and Mudford, you kind of think of back in the good old days, your dad. And who was the other, Mudford, right?
Yeah, Doug Mudford, yes.
So tell us about the history of this place and how you two kind of came into play. And I'd like to introduce the two of you. We've got Brandon and Katie.
Yeah, I'm Katie Barr. This is Brandon Storman.
And probably Esquire, right? Just making sure. You got to get the right title in there. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you can trust a lawyer if they call themselves an Esquire. But so the firm started in 1967, long before either of us were around. And it was started by my dad, Duke and Barr. And he grew up in Wairika, went to University of Chicago for law school, came back here, had Chicago in his rear view mirror after a few winters there, and decided to open up shop in Redding, California. And in 2003, he became partners with Doug Mudford. And in 2014, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work with my dad. And we had a civil case that involved a criminal matter that Brandon was the prosecutor on. So we quickly contacted him to join our team. And the rest is history. We became partners, took over the firm, and we couldn't be more grateful for our team, the attorneys we have here, and the clients that we get to help.
Yes, I started off as a prosecutor, and I always wanted to be a prosecutor representing victims on the criminal side. And when Dugan called, he's the only civil attorney whose call I would have taken, and now I have the pleasure of representing victims with Katie on the civil side.
Well, that's awesome. So it was about 2020, right?
Yeah.
When you guys took over during, COVID. It's kind of that, remember COVID, right? So that's kind of when you guys started. So what's the main service that you guys offer?
So we handle an array of civil issues, but mainly personal injury. So people who are victims in car accidents or motor vehicle accidents, and also we handle insurance disputes, insurance bad faith cases, and products liability. So those are the main cases that we have. We also handle fire litigation, and occasionally we get interesting different types of case that I can't imagine trying to predict because you never know what's going to show up on your doorstep. So
It's never boring.
It's never boring, that's for sure. Yeah.
And and one of the things that we've talked about every time I've come here is that you guys are in this historic building here in downtown Redding. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
It's probably one of the most historic in downtown right now, right? I mean, they're all getting torn down with the more modern stuff now, right?
Yeah, so it was built before the dam, and it's a beautiful building. We love it, Spanish style. We really try to, it was actually the first apartment building in the city of Redding.
Oh, wow.
So each unit was an apartment, but we've converted it into office, and we try to stay true to the original Spanish style and keep our front of it beautiful, and we love this place. We're very lucky.
It's definitely a great setting. So
Yeah.
I can imagine as a client coming in here going, wow, it really is kind of a nice, pleasant, soft environment, and I'm sure it makes it easier for people to come in, and that's what you want to do, right? So that's kind of what it's all about. So I'm actually excited for you guys. This is fairly fresh for you, and it sounds like and looks like things are going well for you, so congratulations to you. And of course, thank you for reaching out to me and wanting to become a sponsor here at Weather NorCal. I certainly appreciate that, because it's all the sponsors put together. With all of you working together, we can make Weather NorCal even more successful. So thank you, and congratulations on your new venture, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
You betcha. All right, so we'll see you next time for our next highlight of sponsor for Weather NorCal. I really can't highlight it enough. That building really is awesome. You walk in there, you kind of get that sense of, it's a very warm feeling. You really have to kind of go in there to understand what I'm talking about. And I'm sure that really can make a difference, especially if you're a victim. And of course, they're going to help you kind of feel better about that, just in the environment alone, and just some great history of that building. I think it's great that they've kind of taken that on to be their building. Now, I also had an opportunity to meet their other attorneys, and it was great meeting them. Just a great team that they have over there. So I highly recommend that if you ever have any personal injury issues, that you head on over to Barn Mudford and give them your business and tell them I sent you. All right, let's take a look at some of those comments out there that we've been kind of looking at here. We have got, of course, obviously referring to the fire out there. We've got Butte Strong. Michelle Jennings saying, praying for everyone. And of course, you think about Butte County, the Camp Fire, right? And of course, then we go north into Redding, where we all remember the Carr Fire and how much of an impact, and the Dixie Fire off into the eastern mountains. So, we all, if we've lived here in any significant amount of time, we've all been impacted by fire. So this is why it really does pain my heart to have to report these fires. I don't like doing it. I hate it. I dread it. I dread it not for the sake of, I don't like my job. I hate it for the sense of I hate having to report this terrible information. Here is a fun comment from Rowdy Cal, and this is actually a compliment. There is a meteorologist on the coast by the name of Jim Bernard. I'm not sure how long ago he passed away, but he was a legend in Eureka as far as kind of a weather forecast or meteorologist out there. So that's a compliment, and I really appreciate that, Rowdy, for that. It's kind of interesting. Jeff Johnson said, I think it's interesting how the temps over the years are similar to only weeks apart. Yeah, it has been an interesting summer so far, and it's interesting too because Lisa asked a little bit earlier, did we break any records for the highest low overnight? And we did. Yesterday we saw that. We probably will see it again this morning. It's still in the low to mid 80s in Redding. I'd have to check the records. I didn't get a chance to do that this morning. I had so much going on, but I'm sure it'll be interesting about that here. Jake Mangus, of course, saying congratulations. He was coming, of course, one of my buddies, Jake. Glad you're watching this morning, Jake, and saying congratulations to the 1-year anniversary. We got Debbie. Debbie is saying that she's still freaked out by the Carr Fire every time she sees a big one. And again, that's a constant reminder, of what we're dealing with here. So, all right. For those of you who are probably just checking in, maybe you want to find out more about the fire, let this finish on Facebook and you'll be able to watch it. Also, know that once I'm done doing this live show, I am recording it as we speak. After I'm done, I then upload that to YouTube. So you'll be able to watch that latest information about the the Thompson Fire near Oroville, or in the Oroville area. So that goes, and that's called, just go to the Coffee with Krueger section on the website, and you'll be able to watch it. In fact, I'll show you where it is, because this is fun. I love to show you things now that I can do that. Here's the website. Let's go to the home page. And you can see here, it's actually really easy to find. See, it says Coffee with Krueger, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Click on that banner, and it will take you to. Now, this is from yesterday morning. But once I'm done with this, then you'll be able to watch the Coffee with Krueger right there on the page there, of course, made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. So that's what's going on. So there you have it. I've got a couple of questions here before we get to the forecast here. Let's take you back to the video, or back to me, that is. And we've got a couple of comments here. First of all, we have got Curtis Brown asking, do you think, is it there? I didn't put it on yet. There it is. Do you think this year will be overall warmer than, I think you mean last year, will be overall warmer than last year? And so to answer your question, we're starting off with a pretty intense heat wave. Number one, temperature is 110 degrees plus. Number two, this is extended. This is going to last well into next week. Is that a sign of the entire summer? Quite honestly, no. We all know that weather patterns can change dramatically around here. So we could see this massive heat wave and then see temperatures drop. But would we say we're in the thick of summer? It certainly feels like it. It certainly is a bang to start things off here in early July. But, July, August are the hottest months of the year. Okay, so we are getting into the hottest months of the year. This is probably one of the earliest heat waves of this magnitude that we've seen in a while. That'd be interesting, some statistics to take a look at, but I couldn't tell you offhand exactly some of the earliest heat waves, but yeah, definitely interesting. We got a comment from Jackie Dickinson saying, warm on the coast. I feel for everyone that has triple digits. Stay hydrated. Right? That's always the message from anyone, is to stay hydrated during these heat waves. And Curtis, yeah, you're confirming you meant to say last year. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's going to do it for now as far as the comments are concerned. I've got a question here from Debbie saying, will you be keeping us updated on the fire too, besides the weather, of course? Of course, Debbie. That's going to be a priority of mine here as well, is the fires. Be sure to check in for the morning update, the noon update, and the evening update. And again, I'm going to take this opportunity to show you where you can find all that information on the website. So you'll notice here, this is, let's go to the home page. You'll notice here that on the right side, that is going to be the latest video. You don't have to click morning, noon, or this will always be right here on the right side. This will always be the latest forecast that I've uploaded. And it's usually uploaded by 6 a.m. at the latest, noon at the latest, and 6 p.m. at the latest. Click on it and it will have the latest video forecast. And when you click on it, you can also, let's just go ahead and click on it right here. Get that going. You can do full screen. Isn't that fun? So that's there. And then of course you can also go to the forecast videos page, right? And that's where you can find the forecast there as well. And not to mention Krueger's Quickcast. So go to the videos forecast page as well, because that'll also really give you a good opportunity to see, again, the latest video forecast. And if you want to even get creative and have fun, go to my YouTube page. View your channel. There it is. You can see the 24-hour streaming channel there. It'll have all the videos there. You can also check out all of the playlists. And there's Coffee with Krueger. There's Pet of the Week, NorCal Ag, Wonderful World of Animals. You got all these, Vet Education Corner. So there's all kinds of cool things in here for you to check out, even outside of the weather. All right, I had my fun. Promoting everything. Debbie saying thank you. It is so helpful. I'm glad that I could be of use and helpful to you. All right, let's go ahead and get that off there. And we are now we will get to the forecast. And we're going to start off by mentioning our sponsor of Coffee with Krueger, and that is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our forecast. Now, I'm not going to really focus too much on the fire, folks, because I did a really good detailed forecast at the very beginning. That's why when I'm done with this, you'll be able to watch my latest information on that fire. Okay? Then, of course, you can check in at noon, and you can check out this evening for the latest data coming in as well. So look at the temperatures out there. 85. Again, I haven't had a chance to check. There's a very good chance this may be the second morning in a row we've broken a record of being the warmest overnight low. That could be the case again. Look at Red Bluff too. Maybe the same story. Corning, 84. 79 in Chico, 78 for Oroville. It's a little bit cooler there. Why? The winds are actually not as strong on that east side of the valley this morning. They're a little bit stronger for the central and west side of the valley. So as a result, those temperatures are a bit warmer. You'll notice the temperatures are in the 40s, 50s for the higher elevations. Pretty warm in Mount Shasta City though at 62, low 50s right now along the coast. Here's your headlines. This extended heat wave is going to go well into next week. In fact, it's going to, the rest of this week, this weekend, and most likely all of next week, it's going to be hot. However, we're going to be on the downward trend after Sunday. That's the good news. But even though we're on a downward trend, we got a long way to go to get down to where we'd like to be. Okay? Warm overnight lows, that's not helping. Hot and dry, windy conditions keeping that fire danger high, at least for today. But the wind should die down, especially by Thursday afternoon. So there's the red flag warning conditions we have. Not good when we're talking about the Thompson fire, right? We don't need the red flag conditions, but unfortunately that's the conditions we're dealt with right now. So look at the wind gusts this morning. Remember I was talking about the northwest side of the valley, strongest winds? They're not as strong down in the south and east. And again, this explains why it's warmer for the central and west side of the valley. Let's take a look at the forecast winds today. There's 10 o'clock this morning, still gusty. The winds are picking up in the Chico area, not to mention Oroville. The winds are subsiding this afternoon, but still gusty. In fact, we take you into Thursday morning, still pretty gusty, and unfortunately it looks like around where the fire is, right? But the winds will start to die down significantly for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Still a little breezy at times, okay? Look at Friday morning. Fairly calm winds. Friday afternoon, yeah, the winds pick up a little bit here, but not a very big wind event. So again, the winds are going to be subsiding over the next few days, especially after today. Humidity levels, oh, I mean, it's just terrible, right? We're talking about single digits here. It doesn't get much better in the morning. Look at Thursday morning. We're still in the 10 to 20% range. That's low for the morning hours, folks. We should be in the 30, 40% range in the morning. But I mean, go on in the afternoon, back into the single digits. Same situation on Friday. There's Friday morning. Look at Friday. Well, that's not Friday morning. I didn't stop at Friday morning. But Friday afternoon, still very, very dry for all of Northern California. This is going to be a pretty intense situation when we're talking about just how dry it is. There's the fire risk for today. It's well within the very high to extreme range for the valley. Okay, now we take you into Thursday. Now look at this. Even though the fire danger is dropping, it's still within that very high range. We're getting in the high to very high right here, right? And even in the mountains, look at this. Remember, we saw how dry it is. We're beginning to see the fire danger really begin to increase because it's been very dry now for the past several weeks, especially to the north and east. And that means we're drying those fuels out. We'll begin to see more dry fuels, especially in Trinity County in the weeks to come, because we've just started to see some very dry conditions there in the last few days. But look at Friday. I mean, we're getting in the very high to even extreme category, especially for some of those foothills as we go into Friday afternoon. But look at the mountains. This is not a happy sight to see. We're getting in the moderate to high range for many areas, especially in Modoc County, Lassen County, and Siskiyou County. Not as bad for Trinity County, but unfortunately in the weeks to come, this will start to see more of the moderate to high range as well. So for today, because of the winds and also because of the heat and dry conditions, we've got that high fire danger, right? Now as we go into Thursday, all right, it's showing that it's more of a moderate risk. So it is dropping a little bit. We are getting some relief thanks to the winds. Again, we need to remind ourselves, no one knows why the Thompson fire started yet, but we really hope it's not because of something like this, okay? We need to be very careful this time of the year. Don't drive on dry grass, ever, okay? I don't care if you just started your car. Don't do it. Make sure that your chains are secure if you're towing a trailer. I was actually watching a story, and there was an interview with somebody. And he said, I didn't even think about the chains dragging and creating. I was like, what? How could you not know that? It's amazing. So this is why I show this on a regular basis, because hopefully someone who didn't think about it will think about it now, right? Never toss your cigarettes out the window. I shouldn't have to say that, but I still see it. Use grills on gravel or paved surfaces. Never mow your lawn in the afternoon when it's hot and dry. And here's what I'm going to say about mowing right now, especially dry grasses. Don't do it this week. Don't mow any lawn this week. Don't do it this weekend, and honestly, don't even do it next week. Let it go. I mean, I know you don't want it to, grow, get higher and higher and create more fuels, but just make sure it's not windy, especially if you're going to do it in the early morning hours. Please wake up early in the morning and do it. Don't do it in the afternoon when it's hot and dry and windy, okay? And of course, never leave fires unattended and always properly extinguish them, all right? So, big ridge of high pressure. Look at the big void of clouds we have. That's because this ridge of high pressure, this broad ridge of high pressure over the eastern Pacific and the western United States. As a result, we got heat alerts. I could go into the timing of this. Bottom line, it's going to be hot today, all the way through the early next week, at least. And it'll go into next week as well. So we've got the excessive heat warnings, we've got the heat advisories, which also goes into Tuesday for the mountains east of the valley, west of the valley through Saturday night, Modoc County through Monday night. This is extended all the way northward into Oregon and Washington down to Southern California. So this is a heat wave that is impacting so many people. West Coast, Western United States, all being impacted by this. So what's going on? Well, number one more day of these gusty winds. This high pressure is one of the reasons why we got the strong winds. Rotation around that high is giving us the windy conditions that we're seeing yesterday. We'll see again today. But as this dome of high pressure moves closer to us, we're now getting out of that flow. That flow is now over here. So we don't have to really worry about the winds as much anymore at this point. But now we've got to be concerned about the temperatures. Notice what's happening as we go into Friday, Saturday. That dome of high pressure is right on top of us. Now, you hear that phrase, dome of high pressure. What does that mean? Well, think of a dome, okay? And I've done this several times, but if you're watching for the first time, a dome does this, right? So you got a dome that does this. At the very center of that dome, the highest peak of that dome is where the hottest temperatures are. You start going to the outer perimeter, you start seeing the dome isn't as high as you get into the outer perimeter. As a result, the temperatures aren't as high either. So when you have that dome of high pressure right on top of you, that's when you expect the hottest temperatures. This is when we could possibly meet or break the all-time high in Reading. There it is right there. Now, look what happens. Sunday, oh, isn't that nice looking? It's moving down to the south. Not fun for our friends down to our south and east, but for us, we're getting at least a little bit of relief, not a lot. Keep in mind, we're still within that dome, and we're still very hot Sunday. And look what happens. This ridge is persistent. It's not going anywhere, folks. Yes, we're getting it to shift off to the east, and that's great. But that dome of high pressure is still within our vicinity, going to keep our temperatures 105, 110 degrees through a good portion of next week, if not all of next week. This low pressure system's trying to ride over the ridge. It's not doing much. Now, I want to point out, let's look at this little area of low pressure right here. This is significant to the forecast, especially for our southern zones around Chico, southward into Sacramento, because this may help to reestablish the marine air, some fog, and that may help to establish a bit of the delta breeze. That will cool things off most likely significantly for Sacramento and could even impact places like Chico. And not usually the delta breeze has to be really strong in order for it to impact Reading, but you get the idea. This could be a saving grace for some people as we go into the end of next week. Warmer than normal conditions, no big surprises there when we look at the Climate Prediction Center. Consecutive number of days, I mentioned this earlier. The record number of days that we've seen 110 degrees plus is 6 days. 1978, 1988, 5 days is what we saw in 1920. The earliest we saw that was July 17th. If we break that, it'd not only be earlier, but I think we could possibly not only reach 6 days of consecutive days of 110 degrees plus, but maybe even exceed that. And when we look at the 10-day trend, you can see that. So when you see 111 or lower, all right, that is when you can say, all right, we're borderline, right? Because, we may be more like 109, 110, right? It just depends. But if we were to take this if we were to verify this forecast and just go ahead and go off the forecast alone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. 9 consecutive days. Now, there's a chance that may not happen, but what I feel confident in is 112 or higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5, if not 6 days. Because we could break that trend maybe in one of these days here. But I think we could possibly see 5, 6, maybe even 7 days of consecutive. Let's take a look at the record highs. Now, what's interesting about this heat wave is this. Yes, we're talking about the potential of seeing this extended heat wave, but we're really not shattering the records. Look at Reading. Most likely not going to break a record until Friday, 117. That's only breaking the record by 4 degrees. That's not shattering a record. We take a look at Mount Shasta, same situation. 3 degrees higher from the record, and then maybe 5 degrees higher for Friday. So yeah, breaking some records there. Take a look at Susanville. We'll be borderline on Thursday. Friday could break it by maybe 1 degree. We take a look at the coast. Look at this. We could actually break a record in Eureka on Friday. The record is 70. Set back in 1983, we could break that record on Friday with a high of about 74 degrees in the forecast. We'll see. Let's take a look at those wave heights. They're going to be fairly high for today. That's, of course, giving us a hazardous seas warning, but those waves should back off a bit here going into your Thursday. Here's your marine forecast for your Wednesday. North winds at 25 to 30 knots. There's that hazardous seas warning I was telling you about here for today. Temperatures, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. 100 degrees or higher for the next 7 days for most of us, right? You can see out towards places like Burnt Ranch, 102, 104 out in Lewiston. Take it to the south. Oh, look at that, cool. It's 96 for Med River. Oh, man, I mean, even these higher elevations, they're typically a lot cooler. Not the case. Really, you have to go to the coast to really cool off. Because even if you go to the mountains, it's still pretty warm. 104 degrees for Garberville, 96 out of Miranda, and 87 degrees for Red Crest. Take you up north, 72 for Ferndale, 76 for Fortuna. In Hydesville, about 78 degrees. Let's take you up north. There you can see 85 for Blue Lake, 71 for Eureka today. But Hoopa, look at the inland areas. Yeah, we're getting 100 degrees or higher through at least Tuesday. We take you up north, 89 out towards Smith River, 93 for Gas Key. There's 84 out in Klamath. In Oric, about 80 degrees. Orleans, 107 degrees. Along the Highway 96 corridor, about 100 degrees, give or take. I-5 corridor, temperatures mainly in the upper 90s. You can see around 96 degrees out in Gazelle. Take you south for Scott Valley, 94 degrees for Etna, 92 in Fort Jones, 95 for Callahan. Weed about 93, Mount Shasta City, 95. 96 for McLeod. Look at Dunsmuir, 99 degrees, getting close to 100. Tennant, I mean, even these higher elevations there, I can typically say, yeah, it'll be a lot cooler there. Not the case. Upper 80s, low 90s. Here's Modoc County, upper 80s, low 90s. I'll look for a high of about 90 out in Alturas. 89 degrees for California Pines and likely about 91. Your eastern mountains neighborhood forecast. There you can see Bernie. I think it'll be up to about 100 degrees by tomorrow and over 100 degrees here as we go into the weekend and early next week. Of course, you got the Bernie Basin days going on this weekend. It's going to be hot for you. Here's Lake Almanor, Lassen Park. My small studio, I'm bumping into things here. There you can see, of course, looking at temperatures low 90s around the lake. For the park, I mean, you're still at the very least, in the low 80s. That's pretty warm for this time of the year, folks. And if you're going on a hike, it's going to be pretty warm, all right? Take you out to Paradise, 100 degrees or higher for the next 7 days. Susanville, about 100 degrees or higher starting tomorrow. And then, of course, lasting into early next week. Here's your Valley Neighborhood Forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor, 110 degrees, give or take. 109 for Corning, 108 for Orland. Willow's about 109, 110 for Red Bluff. 111 degrees for Oroville. Let's take you up north. 109 for the city of Shasta Lake. Reading about 111. There's Cottonwood, a high of about 109, 110 for Palisadro. So here's a look at your 7-day outlook for Reading. Look at that. So the 4th of July, you got the Freedom Fest going on Thursday. A lot of people like to go out there and enjoy the day and play Frisbee or whatnot out at the Freedom Festival. Make sure you got water. Make sure you're staying hydrated, taking breaks, staying in the shade if you can. Because, yes, hot any way you look at it for anyone, for any of those 4th of July celebrations. Possible record, matching all-time high on Saturday. That'll be interesting to see what happens with that as well. Could we break a record? Could we break our all-time record high in Reading? I mean, for as long as I've lived in Reading, the all-time record high has always been 118 degrees. We've never exceeded that. Never. In fact, I've never been, in the 25 years that I've been here, we've never even met the record. Again, let's see here. Let's take a look at those statistics again. When did we reach 100 degrees or higher? Well, what did I do with that map? I thought where is it? Oh my goodness, folks. What is wrong with me? Maybe I have it in here. I do. Here it is. Let me show you this map right here. So, see, I moved here in, 1999? So the first time we had 118, at least the record of 118, was 1971. 10 years later in 1981, I wasn't here yet. And July 20th, 1988, I still wasn't here. So in my time that I've been here, I have yet to meet or break the record. Could that happen this weekend? Only time will tell. Okay. Any questions any of you may have about the heat? Again, I want to make this interactive. I want to make this something that is useful for you, to make it different than any other type of resource that you have when you're watching live television. You can watch me live, ask me questions live, and we can discuss and talk about it. So unless you have any more questions, I'm going to give you just a little bit of time there. In the meantime, I'm going to start preparing for kind of wrapping up the show here. And honestly, I don't have a lot of time. I've got the radio station calling me here in just a bit. So tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to leave you with a camera. And if there happens to be anyone who wants to ask a question, I may be able to get to it. But if not, have yourselves a great day. we're going to go ahead and cue the music. And we will see you tomorrow morning. And by the way, depending on what's going on with the fire, I'm going to have to play this one by ear. I was hoping to maybe head on out to the 4th of July run in Mount Shasta. But if the fire is something that we need to really track and monitor very closely from the studio here, I may have to skip out on that. We'll see. But I do have Wi-Fi access. That should work out perfectly. So thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for chiming in and contributing to the conversation. We will see you tomorrow morning, either live from Mount Shasta City or right here in the studio starting at 7 a.m. If I am in Mount Shasta, there's a chance to maybe bump that back to 7:30. I'll keep you updated on social media. Until then, we will see you all later. Have yourselves a great day. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and we will see you tomorrow.